Hey, what's up, you guys? So Conor McGregor, man, I don't know what to think right now. I don't know if this is a troll. I don't know. I don't know, man. But if you guys saw my video the other day, I did go ahead and talk about how Conor McGregor was going to make an official announcement for his next fight. We did have like a little small rant on the video, you know, thinking that he was probably going to skip over Chandler and, you know, go in another direction. But thankfully, you know, that's not the case. We officially now know that Conor McGregor will be fighting Michael Chandler June 29th, International Fight Week in Las Vegas. And this fight is going to be happening at 185 middleweight. So yeah, you guys, a lot of thoughts. Please, you guys, leave a like down below, comment down below, and subscribe. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys my thoughts. Now, right off the bat, I think a lot of this stuff is, you know, true, because I know a lot of people are, you know, calling out his bluff. Like, really, is this fight really taking place at middleweight? In regards to that, I don't know, man. It could be that it is going to take place at middleweight. I think if it takes place at middleweight, I think it's a huge, you know, mistake on McGregor's part. I also do think that, you know, he's kind of capping, because if you remember the Ultimate Fighter show, like literally on that first episode,
if I told you what weight it's going to be, 184.
You want to do 185? I'll do 185.
You'll do what y'all told.
So I think, you know, when he mentions 185 and then he has a laugh about it, I think that is kind of, you know, him joking about it. But who knows, man? If this is true, like I said, there's a lot of things to think about it, which I will go over the video. But the main thing that I think we should all be grateful for and happy about is that we are going to be getting Michael Chandler versus Conor McGregor this year. Two things, man. I am very curious why the UFC has not gone out and officially announced this and promoted this for International Fight Week. I know we're still like a long ways away, but for McGregor announcing this and the UFC not, you know, kind of backing it, because like we've seen, you know, things happen like this before. Like I remember when Volkanovski went ahead and announced, I think it was that he was fighting Islam, you know, in Australia. You know, the UFC immediately right after that announcement, they went ahead and promoted that as, you know, legit. In this case, though, we haven't heard anything from Dana. We haven't heard anything from the UFC onto if, you know, this is for sure taking place on International Fight Week. I personally have my own opinions on what's going to happen International Fight Week. I think that is going to be Jones versus Miocic. And as of right now, you know, it seems that Dana White is on, you know, somewhat of a vacation, you know, for the holidays. So when he gets back, I'm sure some reporters are going to go ahead and ask him, you know, if, you know, McGregor Chandler is officially set for International Fight Week. And it is definitely going to be interesting to see his response, because really he can go about it two ways. He either confirms it and it's like, okay, well, you know, we know it's happening, and if it's at middleweight, he'll confirm it right there and then, and, you know, we could riot and like go based off, you know, what happens. Or two, he debunks it, and if he debunks it, I think that there's going to be a big reaction from McGregor, man, a huge reaction, because Conor has already gone out in the media and he's, you know, been frustrated with the UFC. I mean, he's shown so much frustration to the point that he's, you know, even threatened to go box Manny Pacquiao if the UFC doesn't, you know, let him announce his return date or give him a date. And so I do feel that if Dana White goes out there and debunks it, we could see a big reaction from McGregor, you know, like people calling out his bluff and stuff like that. It'll just make him look stupid in the media for even coming out and saying something which is, you know, not true. And, you know, that's number one. Number two, man, why didn't this happen at UFC 300, man? I feel like we're constantly getting disappointment as, you know, days go by, that, you know, fights are being announced and they're being placed everywhere except, you know, the big UFC 300, the card that we all, you know, are so excited to see. You know, probably the biggest card of the year for sure. It's the biggest card of the year. And, you know, I don't know what's the holdup, man, because McGregor looks ready, Chandler looks ready. I think it's just the UFC, you know, looking at their schedule and being like, well, you can't fight January, you can't fight February, you can't fight March, you can't fight April. Why can't you fight April? It's UFC 300. I think they wanted to, you know, do like, so I explained in, you know, the video where, you know, I talked about McGregor's announcement. I explained that I think a big reason of why they're not putting him on UFC 300 is because they're trying to cash out on the actual value of Conor McGregor. I think, you know, the UFC brass know that UFC 300 is going to be a massive, huge event on its own, and it's going to do big numbers why put Conor McGregor there and just add more, to those numbers, when you could do McGregor on a separate event and get double of the big programming that they're gonna get, the huge pay-per-view numbers. As a business move, it's smart, it makes sense, but for the fans, it's kind of like, damn bro, like we want to see that on UFC 300 instead. We don't have to keep waiting, man. By this point, it would already be more than a year since the fight was announced, or they were announced to be coaches on The Ultimate Fighter. So if it's for sure that it's going to take place on June, I'm happy for it, man. I just want to see this fight take place. I really want to see McGregor versus Chandler, but I'll go ahead and go over the middleweight thing. So in the chance that this fight actually takes place in middleweight, man, that is extremely upsetting, bro. Because really, if you think about it, McGregor, his main thing is that he's been complaining and, talking about how he wants to get back into competition. He's in there for the love of things. But what direction do you go if this fight's at middleweight? It makes absolutely no sense for either guy. I get that you're going to see McGregor without a weight cut. You're going to see Chandler, without a weight cut, because these guys are going to be huge. They're going to be at middleweight. They don't have to cut any weight, to be there. But still, it's like it lacks direction. If this fight were at 155, that is the perfect way to do it. And really, there's not an argument that we should be having about it. This fight should be at lightweight. Michael Chandler is currently the number 5 lightweight in the world. If he gets a win over the former lightweight champion in Conor McGregor, this does massive things for him at lightweight, man. It really puts him in a very, very good scenario. And the same thing for McGregor, man. If he beats Chandler, he's immediately inserted back into the top 5, in the lightweight division. This whole fight, surrounds itself around 155. There's no other reason to put it on any other weight class. I get the people that say, well, this fight is going to be at 170. I understand when people say that, and my response to that is that it's stupid. It makes absolutely no sense. I don't like seeing McGregor at 70. Like, I like the fight against Cowboy, but Cowboy's not a welterweight. He's fought at 55. Nate Diaz is a welterweight, but like, why is Conor there, bro? Like, it has no purpose for him. At that point, when we were in 2020 with COVID, when McGregor fought at 170, right after he finished Cowboy, you saw that he was already in the mix to fight Jorge Masvidal, or he was talking about going down and fighting Justin Gaethje. So it put him in kind of like a good, decent window. If he were to fight Michael Chandler at 170, which I know Chandler would love because he doesn't want to cut down to, 155. Let's say the fight happens at 170. Where do you go after this? Like, where does McGregor have a clear sense of, path for him to get to a world title, which is ultimately what he wants? Who would you guys want to see? Conor and Colby Covington, Shavkat, Leon. Like, none of those fights interest me as much as seeing Conor in the premier division lightweight, where he's in the mix with guys like Charles Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Islam. I mean, all those fights are fun, exciting fights for Conor. There's nothing at 170 that entices me at all. So yeah, nonetheless, like I said, we're not even talking about 170 anymore. We're talking about 185 at this point, man. Like, what are you gonna do? Match him up with freaking Sean Strickland? Like, it makes no sense in the world, man. Dricus du Plessis, like, this fight should be taking place at 155, and honestly, it is a joke that it's happening at 185. But like I said, I tend to believe that McGregor is trolling about it, but who knows? We do have to see what Dana White says, because as much as we want to believe Conor, he has come out there and said, a lot of BS before in the media, in his tweets. So I want to see what the UFC and what Dana White has to say, and then I'll go and form my opinion based off that, Nonetheless, though, let's say we do believe him, and like I said, this fight is happening International Fight Week. I'm excited for it nonetheless, man. Like I said, I really want to see, Michael Chandler fight. I don't want him to wait anymore. Like, the guy's already getting up there in age and, taking more and more time off it. It's just ultimately hurting his chances, to get to a world title fight, man. So, yeah, I'm excited for it. I want to know your guys' thoughts down below. Are you guys excited for McGregor Chandler, or has the steam died off, since they were on The Ultimate Fighter and because they had to wait all this time? And what do you guys think? Do you think 185 that's like they're gonna for sure fight at middleweight? Or do you think that McGregor is trolling? Or do you even think this announcement isn't even true in the first place, man? Please let me know your thoughts down below. Like the video, comment down below, and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Peace.